Welcome to Bridging the Bayou, where we will explore what it means to work, live, and play in the Bayou region. Join us as we take a deeper dive into the people and experiences that make our region such a special place to live and work. On each podcast, we will talk to individuals who are making our region grow and go, who are making strides in uplifting our community. This is a podcast of Fletcher Technical Community College. Welcome and Happy New Year. Happy 2025 to our listening audience. Welcome to Bridging the Bayou, the podcast of Fletcher Technical Community College. We are so glad that you were able to join us today as we welcome our latest guest, Miss Jamie Chauvin, who is our Director of Work Ready U and Adult Education here at Fletcher Technical Community College. Jamie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, great. Well, look, I think you said you might have seen the podcast once or twice, so you know we're going to jump right into our favorite 5 in 5 questions, 5 minutes to learn just a little bit about you. So here we go. Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's start with, can you tell us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to pursue a career in adult education?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to help people. Initially, I kind of thought that I would get into social services and maybe do social work or something like that. But when I finally finished my undergrad, I had young kids at home and teaching just kind of fell into my lap and made sense for my family. So I did that for 11 years, worked at a private homeschooling center, and still allowed me to be a teacher and give back, but also be a mom. But fast forward 11 years, life happened and I had to pivot and make some changes. And so I saw some job openings at Fletcher and I knew I wanted to be a part of it. So I just applied and got it.
All right, great. Well, I'm going to ask a secondary follow-up to that question. What were you teaching when you were teaching at the Learning Center?
All subjects, all ages.
Oh, wow.
But specifically, I kind of developed an affinity to teaching the students who had different things going on, whether they were on the autism spectrum, had Down syndrome, different exceptionalities. So I found a passion for that while doing that.
Great. Do you have a favorite subject to teach?
Nope, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. I
You
like
math?
teaching it all. Probably don't like math, but I could do it. I might have to watch a video or two to grease the wheels a little bit, but yeah.
All right, great. Can you tell us about a book that you've read that maybe has had a big impact on your life, maybe even changed your life?
So, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee was one of my favorite books growing up. It was probably the first novel that I read as a kid that really, I didn't read it for entertainment or for fun, but it really, really changed my perspective on life and a lot of things. Justice, empathy, having strong work ethic, and standing up for what's right are all important to me. And so that's what I learned from that book.
Oh, fantastic. What a good book. And I just reread that maybe last year. So it does, and it hits home in different ways at different points in your life. I know a lot of our guests have said that when you read a book at a particular time, sometimes it really touches you pretty deeply. So
yeah, reading it at 12 years old and then finding myself working with the population that I work with, who all have challenges that are rooted in different systemic areas. It really, really, I think, prepared me, and I didn't know it at the time when I read it.
Oh, neat. Very cool. All right. So what do you do when you want to unwind and recharge when you're not busy being the director here at Fletcher?
I do like listening to live music. So I like to keep tabs on what's going on around the area and see what band I can go check out. I like listening to live music and just relaxing and having fun.
Great. All right. And the 5th question for you, do you have a mentor or someone important in your life who's just really maybe greatly influenced you, either personally or professionally?
I think I have both. Growing up, my dad, he taught me from a young age to ask questions. Never really just accept an answer from someone. Go seek it out for yourself before you just accept it. Also, doing the right thing all the time and treating people with dignity and respect. Professionally, though, it would be my former supervisor, Miss Angela Gingerelli. we had a lot of similarities on our life journey, and she took a chance on me. And I feel like maybe I would have overlooked a lot of the opportunities that have come my way if it hadn't been for her.
Wow.
Yeah. She really pushed me and challenged me. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And there's something really special about that, because I want to turn now and talk a little bit about what you do here at Fletcher. And I know you have the opportunity each day to challenge students who maybe have lost confidence in their ability to be a part of the educational system, and what that looks like for them, and helping them grow. And so I want to just start for our audience who maybe are not familiar with adult basic education, or when we say Work Ready You, a lot of times people are like, what? So can you just give us an overview? What is Work Ready You? Tell us a little bit about how does that tie into adult basic education? And maybe let's start there. I also want to talk a little bit about ESL and citizenship, but let's tackle adult ed and Work Ready You first.
Okay, so adult ed, I feel like it could be probably the Swiss Army knife of the college, because we can do it all. So we, of course, are probably most known for helping people get their high school equivalency diploma, formerly known as the GED. But we also, besides that, we can help people who need just general upskilling on reading, writing, math skills, digital literacy skills, preparing them either for that next job, going back to school. Also, workforce training. We can get people, employers who may have employees that they need that next promotion. So they can reach out to us, and we'll help them do whatever it is that they need to prepare them for that next level.
Awesome. So digital literacy, what is that?
Computer skills, internet, all of the things, and now social media, like all of it encompasses everything that we do. I mean, you can't make a phone call, or, there's Zoom meetings. So especially since COVID's taught us that this is the way the world is going, and we have to prepare people. We're a community college, and part of the workforce is being tech savvy. And so that's one of the things we work on in adult ed as well.
Okay, so what you're saying is you can help me learn how to use my phone?
Absolutely. There is a lesson in North Star on my iPhone. Yes.
Awesome. And you can help my 88-year-old mother learn
Absolutely.
how to do?
Yes.
So if you're out there in the audience and maybe, you have not thought about coming back to Fletcher for that kind of assistance, they could reach out to you and come in and get some help on how to FaceTime the grandkids.
Anything and everything, we can do it for free.
All right. So then what is Work Ready You then? Is that just the workforce training arm of what you do? And how does that play into adult ed?
Well, I think getting the population work ready could mean different things for different people, depending on what their need is. So we're getting people work ready, whether that means they need a high school diploma to either enter the workforce or to go farther into the workforce, get their promotion. If they need to upskill reading and math, maybe they're looking to do something different, or they're trying to go back to college and they haven't been in a while. We can prepare them for college level English and math, or we can prepare them for the next job. It's just getting people ready to go to work, whatever that means for them.
Great. Excellent. And I think that's such an important point, because we do have a number of people probably within our listening audience who graduated from high school.
Absolutely.
And maybe entered the workforce, but have reached a stage in their life, or maybe they made that their New Year's resolution, right? To go back and get that degree they always wanted, but they might be hesitant. They're thinking to themselves, I haven't sat in a math class in so many years, or I don't know what it's like to be back in the college classroom. So they could reach out to you and your unit and get help with that?
Yep, absolutely.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep, they can. We actually had a student, I think last year, who was in his 60s, and he worked in the oil field for all of his life since he dropped out of high school. He didn't have his high school diploma. So he worked on a tugboat. And in his 60s, nearing retirement, he got injured and found himself in a position where he lacked the credentials and some of the skills, that were required now. The things are different from when he first started working to now. And so we had to help him navigate that challenging part of his life to get him ready to find something different to do at this stage,
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah. It was really
Awesome.
nice to help him.
Yeah. So let's talk about the other components to
hmm
what you do, and that is English as a second language,
hmm
as well as some citizenship. Can you tell us a little bit about what those look like here at Fletcher?
So those are probably, we've grown so much in our English as a second language and citizenship classes. So our instructors, Julia and Lais, host classes during the day, in the morning, afternoon, and in evenings. And we help people learn the language, whether they are new to the country or have been here for a while. Some of them maybe even have college degrees from their home country, and they just need to reacclimate themselves to, the culture and the language here in South Louisiana and in the United States. So we help them do that. Also, people who need help navigating the citizenship process, we help them practice and prepare for the citizenship exam.
Fantastic. How many people approximately go through that program in a year? Do you know?
We have grown tremendously, Dr. Strickland. When I first started, we were struggling to get 200 people in a fiscal year through the door. And right now, altogether, we're over 370, with about 100 of those being our English language learners.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about where we serve,
Mm-hmm.
because I know there are adult ed services in Terrebonne and
Mm-hmm.
Lafourche and Assumption.
Mm-hmm.
We service all three.
Yep, we're in Region 3, Terrebonne, Lafourche, and Assumption parishes.
And if someone, I know, I think many people, when they think about what we do here at Fletcher, affiliated with the adult ed, they may think of our location on Tiger Drive over in Thibodaux.
Yeah.
Where else are we offering programs? If somebody wanted to get services in Terrebonne or in Assumption, do they just reach out to their college? What does that look
They
like?
can just call. Right now, we're only having classes at the Thibodaux facility and here at night. But wherever the need is, we are more than willing and able to go. We have students from different rural areas, the lower end of the parishes. We will hop in our car and meet them at their local library to test them and get them enrolled. It's not something that, we're afraid to do or we won't do. We just make it happen. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to pick up the phone and take this first step. So it's the least we can do for somebody who is willing to and ready to change their life.
Great. So I want to circle back. What a great story about the gentleman that you helped in his 60s, right? Re-career or transition into something new. Tell me a little about some of the other success stories that you've seen come through the doors here at Fletcher.
Well, of course, everybody knows Brandy. If they were at the Chancellor's breakfast, they're familiar with her. I mean, she comes to mind first just because she's here. She's a student at Fletcher, but she's overcome so much. And it's like the true meaning of, you don't have to see failure as an option or any obstacle stand in your way. Like life happens, but it's about how we get up and continue. And she's like the perfect example of that. I mean, everything from being a teen mom to just life happening in between Hurricane Ida. Like she's really an inspiration to a lot of people. And her story is just one of many. There's so many like it.
Yeah. So talking about that, right? Many of our students, both whether they're in the adult ed space or even, pursuing a degree or a certification, face challenges. We have a non-traditional, probably a more traditional type of student these days, right? But can you talk a little bit about what are the challenges that you see individuals in our community encountering in terms of accessing adult ed services or just challenges that they're having to get into school? What does that look like? And maybe even talk a little bit about what do we do to help? I mean, you talked about we're going to drive to meet you.
Yeah.
Right? So transportation is an issue for some.
Transportation is a huge issue, especially with us being kind of removed from some of the more rural areas of the parishes. So transportation is number one. Childcare is another one that's huge, and sometimes family support. Culturally and generationally, some of these people face significant challenges. They're often first-generation high school graduates or first-generation college graduates, college attendees, and so it's tough for them to take the initial step to come out and then stick it out when they start seeing that we're here to help you, and it does take some work, and it's not always easy. So yeah, family support, transportation, and childcare, the three biggest ones.
I remember talking with a student who
Mm-hmm.
was here at Fletcher, I guess probably a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that he shared that surprised me
Mm-hmm.
was he too had encountered a number of challenges raised by his
Yep.
grandparents. And when he told them that he was enrolling at Fletcher, he was very proud. But
Mm-hmm.
his grandfather actually said, I don't want you to do that.
Yep.
That's not who our family is, and that's not what we do.
Yeah.
And that was a major hurdle for him to get
Yeah.
through.
And I don't think it's said out of malice or anything like
Right.
that. I just think culturally we're a people who are self-reliant and we do things on our own, and we're resilient and adaptable and all of these wonderful things they say about South Louisianians, right? So I think that they don't really realize how much they truly need what we offer.
Yeah. So on the English as a second language, you mentioned in the citizenship the growth that we've seen there. What do you think is driving that growth?
There's a couple of things. We have a huge influx of the population. The English language learners population has grown in the area. Also, word of mouth. Culturally, that whole population, they bring everyone with them. So we may have someone like that walks through the door alone, and then the next week when they come, they might bring 4 or 5 other people with them.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like all word of mouth. I try to keep up with our Facebook and social media. I try to advertise, but really it's like word of mouth. Our program has grown, and it's really because of the work that Lais and Julia are doing. And our students are really, really comfortable with them. They respect them, and they just bring everyone, their brothers and sisters, cousins, everyone shows up.
Yeah. And we have a great team.
We really do. I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love interacting with them. They are so friendly and
They really
so
are.
welcoming. And I know I had wanted to try to learn a little bit of Spanish, and they were so patient with me and understanding. So I know that they're fantastic with students as they're
Yeah, they
trying
really
to
are.
learn the English language on the flip side. So I know you do a number of different partnerships within the community
We
in the
do.
work that you do. And I wanted to take just a minute to showcase and highlight some of the organizations and people who work very closely with us to help our students be successful. So maybe you could take a few minutes and talk about what partnerships do we have? Who are we working with in the community that's helping so many of these students access the education that they are looking for?
Yeah. So this year we entered into a partnership with Start Corporation's Youth Build program. So we are providing the high school equivalency prep for those students, and also the technical programs. They're doing a lot of short-term certification, safety trainings. That's part of the college's, Nancy's team is taking up that part. So yeah, we're working with them. They're finishing up their first cohort this month. They're going to have the second one coming up in March. So y'all look out for those applications going out. We also just recently entered into a partnership with the Wallace Community Center in Raceland, where we're going to be offering services at their resource hub. There's a house next to the Wallace Community Center that's brand new. Well, it's older house, brand new. They just re-outfitted it for, everything that we need. But Heather over there is really good at what she does, and she reached out and said there's a need in the community. And the vision that we have for that program is that moms and grandparents are going to drop their children off at the Head Start next door and then walk over to her resource hub and get their own education.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Generational education taking place in one
Absolutely, yeah.
place. Yeah. How important. And Heather is that Beyond the Bell?
Beyond the Bell, Lafourche Parish Government, yes.
Okay. And what do you know, can you share what they do for those who aren't familiar with maybe Beyond the Bell?
So Heather started Beyond the Bell as like an after-school program for the students that live in that community in Raceland. It's an underserved population. So she started that as an after-school program, and then it's just grown. Those kids grew up. The little kids that started getting off the school bus and attending her after-school program, they grew up and now they're young adults. One of her students, her very first student, shout out Dontarius, he's in the Youth Build program with START, and he's actually one of our student ambassadors for the Lap Key program. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And did you all win an award or something? A few awards recently?
We had a few, yeah.
Okay.
We had a few, yeah. Got some classroom learning grants, got some continuing education grants. Yeah. We did really, really well.
Fantastic.
Proud of my team.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you talked a little bit when we very first started about preparing folks for the workforce.
Yeah.
Do you have business or industry partners that you work closely with to help them meet their workforce needs? And what does that look like in terms of the adult education sector? I think many people know sort of what we do at the college.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's a welding, but what's your interface with business and industry?
So right now we don't have a specific partnership with a certain business that we go in and we teach on site there. But we do all of the TABE testing, which is required for students who are seeking training through and getting funded through the Louisiana Workforce Commission. And we also, so those students are coming in, they're taking Fletcher programs, but they're getting funding through them. So there's some testing and some criteria that they need to do before they can enter into those programs and then move on to those potential employers. But we are available if anyone out there, you have employees that you have identified that you want us to come in, will come in and work, whether it's upskilling their reading, upskilling their math, teaching them how to work a computer, all of those things we can absolutely. That's one of the areas that I'm looking to improve and grow in and expand in the coming months, next fiscal year, absolutely.
Great. We'll be looking to hear more about that in the future.
Call me, email me, yeah.
All right, business and industry, if you're out there and you are looking for a workforce, and I know so many of you are, you heard it here first. Reach out. I think we have some exceptional candidates potentially for you. And then we can also work with you to sort of customize if they need some certain training.
Yeah,
right?
we do. We so with our some of the workforce trainings we have specific things like related to, students without a high school equivalency diploma can take college classes and college training while simultaneously working on their high school equivalency. So whether you're looking to get into CNA, something in oil and gas, welding, electrical, automotive, you can do both while also earning your high school equivalency. And there's different funding options for that too.
Okay, great. So we've talked a little bit about like the digital literacy and technology, and you mentioned how important technology has become. What types of technology or innovative learning do we do in adult ed? Do we do online? I don't know, like what technology is being used in adult education these days?
So we have smart boards in all of the classrooms. So of course we use that. We utilize Google Classroom. We also have an online learning platform called Essential Education for students who cannot attend in person. They can work online from home.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about that. What does that look like for the student who's maybe sitting out in the audience and listening in and saying, well, gee, I didn't know that might work for me?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different criteria to be eligible for an online class. You have to be 18 or older. Our minor students who qualify for adult ed have to attend in person. But for the student who is a true adult and wants to take online classes, they would just have to come in person and take some pre-assessments. It lets us know what classes we need to put you in and what we need to teach you to prepare you. And then we'll go in and put you in this online program called Essential Ed. We monitor your coursework. We keep in touch with you. We'll call you when we see that you're ready to post-test and then reevaluate and see where you are and see if you're ready to go ahead and take the exam. Yeah.
So let's back up for a minute and talk age.
Age.
That was not something that really crossed my mind until you just said it. So who's eligible for adult education, and are there age restrictions or age requirements?
Yeah, so adult ed is for students 18 and older. We don't have an age threshold.
Cutoff.
You're never too old to go
so
back to school.
So my 88-year-old mother can
Absolutely.
come. And truthfully, my mom never did finish her high school diploma. Yeah, and she talks frequently about, she said maybe I need to go back and just
Tell
get
her
my
to come
high school
on.
diploma. So I might
We could put her in
just do
essential
that.
ed, Dr. Strickland.
Oh,
We'll help her.
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
No, we do take minors into adult ed,
Okay.
but the state has set some criteria that students need to meet to be eligible for adult ed as minors. So if any parents out there think that their child might be eligible or they want to get more information, they would just have to call me and I'll go over the criteria with them, get the required supporting documentation, and then we can go from there to see if adult ed is a fit for them.
Okay. Very good. So I know that you are relatively new in your role. How long have
Yes.
you been at the director level now?
Since August, about 6 months.
6 months. Okay. So in this new role, I'm sure that you've thought a lot about where you'd like to take this program and what your vision is for the future. And tell us, what does that look like?
So some of the things that I have, my wheels don't stop turning when it comes to thinking about what's the next thing I can do, what's the next step I can take. I definitely would like to see Fletcher's Work Ready You expand into Assumption and Terrebonne parishes more than what we are right now. I would really like to see us maybe utilize some of the public libraries, maybe at Fletcher's Mobile Training Unit, and get down there and maybe do some open enrollment for the community. Definitely see an expansion down there for the future. Also, just like I said before, I really would like to develop some more partnerships specifically with different employers and businesses in the area on how we can help them succeed and help their employees.
And if the community wants to get involved, what's the best way for them to do that? Do you take volunteers? Is it that, are you all looking for instructors or anything like that?
We're always looking for volunteers and instructors. You want to come help and give back. I think, I feel like everyone should at least come visit adult ed just to see what it is that we do. I mean, there's such a stigma behind community college to start off with, and then there's a stigma behind adult education. I think just, come in here and see that this is real people and this is real life. And it takes a lot to take the step into making the phone call or walking into the door. But I would absolutely invite anybody who wants to volunteer, who wants to partner up, give me a call, shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to sit and meet and discuss what you're looking for and how we can help you.
I think that that's such an important point with regard to our students because, whether it's the stigma at the community college level or even for those who maybe didn't complete their high school diploma, it's this idea that somehow that academically that they might be less than. And for the vast majority of our students, that's not the case.
No,
it is
it's
not an academic issue. It is, like you said, life gets in the way. Things happen that maybe they just can't get to school. And so, they are bright, they are talented, they are eager to work and to contribute back to the communities. They just need that opportunity, that door opened.
Yeah, they just need a chance and someone to believe in them. I remember once I heard someone that I worked with at the homeschool center a long time ago. She said, sometimes people just need us to love them for a year. And they can handle the work on their own. They just need our support. So that's what we're here for. Most of our students who come in, like you said, the academics are secondary. They just need to know that they're able and that they're deserving of what the world has to offer and what Fletcher has to offer.
How wonderful is that? And I want to just ask you, and this is probably going to be a little bit of a curveball, but is there anything I didn't ask you that you want to tell us about?
No, not really. I mean, I tried to prepare and think of what some of the things are that you were going to ask me. But I think one thing that we didn't touch on, I think that there's I don't know if people are aware, the literacy and numeracy rates in the nation, like in Louisiana, specifically in our region, are kind of shocking. Just in our region alone, we have about 34,000 people who are 18 and older who don't have a high school diploma or its equivalent. So there's absolutely a need for what we do. The literacy and numeracy rates in Louisiana, we're kind of like about, I think, 34% have a low literacy rate, literacy skills. But the math is continuing to climb. I think the stat said like 40-something% of the adults 18 and older in Louisiana have low math skills. And that affects not just the workforce and the adults, but it trickles down to their children. So it's super important for people to upskill and continue to learn and raise those literacy and numeracy rates.
Yeah, we hear so much about the importance of reading to children when they're young and getting them exposed to sort of the educational opportunities when they are pre-K or pre-K 3 or even earlier childhood. But you don't really think about that if the parent at the home can't read.
Right. And
or has numeracy issues, the chances are that they're going to be able to do for their children what they need to get them advanced. So again, it kind of goes to that generational breakdown that you see that has huge impacts across our community.
Yeah, there's a direct correlation with the mother's educational attainment and her literacy skill level and her children's academic success. It's like a strong correlation between,
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So very important that
Very,
we
very
address
important.
that. And it has to be almost a either end, right? I know we talk a lot in our state. There's a big emphasis on early childhood education and on making sure that children have access and early access to some of these things. But we also have to tackle it from the other side with the parents.
Yeah, because you have children teaching parents in some houses, in some households. Yep.
Holy cow. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really, really enlightening.
Yeah.
And I think important.
It is, no problem.
So we did a why campaign here at Fletcher, and we asked folks to tell us their why they do what they do. And I think that your why was particularly poignant and important for our listening audience to hear. And so would you mind sharing with us when we asked what your why is, why do you do what you do? What was your response?
So, backstory before I get to that is that my mom got her GED when I was 7 years old and when my sister was 5. She decided to go back to school when my younger sister went to kindergarten. So I saw firsthand what education can do for a family and how it can change things. Also, growing up, I didn't really know anybody personally that had attended college. So it was kind of like, you talked about it, you heard about it. I went to school and heard people talk about what they were going to do after they graduated. But, I didn't know that it was a possibility for me. So my why was to be who I needed when I was younger. Yeah, I just want people to know that it doesn't matter where you come from or what your circumstances are, you deserve an education. You deserve better for yourself and for your family, and that no matter what, there's someone out there that's going to believe in you and that's going to help you.
Yeah. And many of those people are right here at Fletcher Technical Community College.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the magic of Fletcher.
There you go. I like what you did there.
I listened to it this morning. I listened to the video this morning driving to work. Yeah. So it reminded me of that.
Yeah. We do some magical stuff here. We really, really do. And I continue to say that education is the one thing that no one can take away from you.
No, they can't.
And once you've obtained that, it opens doors for you. It opens doors for your family. And it's something that you always have in your toolkit.
That's it.
And that's so important. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
No
and thank you
problem.
for sharing your gifts
Thank you.
with our whole community. So, I like to turn a little bit. I always try to find, and I had a hard time finding something that was super unknown about you.
Oh,
I did stalk your Facebook page. I'm not gonna lie. And I know that you have some beautiful children and grandchildren that you are especially proud of. So let me just start there.
Okay.
Children, grandchildren, how many?
I have 2 children and 3 grandchildren.
Excellent. And ages?
23 and 16. And my grandchildren are 6, 3, and almost 2.
Okay. So little itty bitty ones. Are you reading to them?
I try if they sit still long enough.
Very good. Do they have a favorite book?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Tegan, he's just learning to read. So he reads everything like shampoo bottles and labels and signs while we're riding in the car. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, he reads everything. And he's very inquisitive. So he likes to ask why things are the way they are. What does this mean? And, how do you spell this? And yeah.
Well, great. Okay, so here's the real question, though.
Okay.
While I was scrolling or stalking or whatever we call it these days, so you are a trivia buff, and I believe that you have recently won some trivia award.
So I wouldn't say buff. Maybe it was an elf-themed trivia night, and so maybe I'm an elf buff more than a trivia buff. But yeah, I just stumbled upon this event on Facebook, and I got a couple of colleagues together, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about going. Do y'all want to go? And we went, and we cleaned house.
You won?
Yeah, we won. We came out first.
Excellent. What'd you win?
$50 gift certificate to Peppers.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Me, Jenny, and Alex.
Who knew? Elf knowledge.
Elf knowledge. Yeah.
It's power.
It was in. There were some rounds, I think we got 10 out of 10. I don't think we got very many wrong.
Oh my goodness. Was it Christmas themed or
yeah,
all
Elf the movie and Elf the musical. So
okay.
lines from the movie we had to remember and different things that happened. Yeah, it was very surprising. I surprised myself. I didn't think I knew that much, but clearly I watched that movie way too many times, but yeah.
So I am going to be vulnerable here and tell you and everyone out there, please no hate mail or hate email. I've never seen Elf.
Oh gosh, you need to watch it. It's hilarious.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
I might have to add it to my post-Christmas.
It's like the new Home Alone. Like when I was a kid, Home Alone was the movie that we all watched for Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's like the new Home Alone. All the kids, yeah. It's really fun.
Okay. Well, I'll put it on my watch list.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe when I'm missing Christmas in a few months from now.
Yeah, you can count on Will Ferrell to make it happen.
There you go. I like it. So we're going to end today with one piece of advice that you might have for our audience out there that you would like to share with them.
One piece of advice is don't be afraid to start.
Okay.
No matter what it is, start something. You're never too old to come back to school. Just start somewhere. All right. Start somewhere.
Great advice. And sometimes that's the hardest step.
It is taking the first step and starting. So just start. You'll be doing something. You'll be here living anyway, so you might as well start something.
That is such a great point. I remember earlier in my career, I had someone come in, and they were talking to me about enrolling. And they said, I'm 50 years old, and it was at the time they were looking at to pursue a bachelor's degree, and they said, but I'll be 54 when I graduate. And I said, well, hopefully with a little luck, you're going to be 54 either way.
Yeah.
So why not be 54 with the bachelor's degree that you wanted to do?
That's it.
All right, so just get started out there, everyone. And what a great message as we start 2025, right? This is your year to start something new, and maybe starting something new means coming back to Fletcher to get your high set, your high school equivalency. Maybe it is for those of you out there who know someone who needs some English as a second language assistance. Maybe if you are someone out there who needs some digital literacy and just doesn't have a clue how you're working this phone, right? Feel free to reach out, or even you want to pursue that next degree or that training or certificate. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having
I have
me.
learned a great deal. I really appreciated you coming in. And I want to thank all of you for joining us again in this new year. I hope everyone out there has a wonderful 2025. You are here with us at Bridging the Bayou, the podcast of Fletcher Technical Community College, and I am your host, Chancellor Christine Strickland. Be sure to like and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening to Bridging the Bayou, the podcast of Fletcher Technical Community College. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.